Hey everyone, this is Robert Marujo, one of the senior editors at NintendoJoe.com, and today we're going to be talking about a publisher who I have grown to love in recent months, and they are called Third Editions. So some of you might know them because we've highlighted them on the website. Some of you might know them because you've been reading the books. You might also have contributed to the different Kickstarter campaigns that they have launched over the months since they came to all of our attention. So what is Third Editions? Why do they matter? Well, Third Editions is a French publisher, and they love video games. They love pop culture, too. They have some different books coming out dealing with not just video games. But we're focused on the gaming. So are they. They basically take all these different classic games, some not even super old. They've covered Dark Souls, but they also go back as far as Final Fantasy VI. They go through the industry, they go through the history of it, and they say, what are the great games that everyone wants to know about? Now, when I say everyone, I mean all of us gamers. And it's sort of like, let me break this down a little bit. One thing I've always hated when it comes to people who criticize Nintendo is you have this section of fandom that will say things like, Nintendo runs off of nostalgia. That's fascinating because last time I checked, Nintendo has been making video games specifically for decades now. So if you want to tell me that I'm, just running off nostalgia every time I plug in a Zelda game because I've been playing them since, the mid-90s, okay, maybe that colors my perceptions. But is that coloring the perceptions of a 7-year-old who's playing Breath of the Wild for the first time? What about Timmy the 10-year-old who's playing Pokemon for the first time? What's his nostalgia level? He's been alive for 10 years. I find that argument just so ridiculous. But to me, what it represents is a larger problem that some pundits have when it comes to the industry, which is gaming's been around for decades now. Decades! You have parents who were playing like Pong in the 70s. You have people who were playing Space Invaders in the 80s. You have generations of human beings that have been playing video games and passing the tradition along from themselves to their kids and beyond. I know I've mentioned before in writing, and I might have mentioned it before in video as well. I had a teacher who talked about going home and playing Pokemon with her children. She's playing the game with her children. Decades now, generations, lots of people playing video games, and with that comes a lot of curiosity. I'm one of those people. I love playing the games, but I also love learning about them. I love being able to sit and say, what inspired the creation of Mario? Why does Zelda, why is it play the way that it does? Why has it evolved into what it is, all the way from the original to Breath of the Wild? All of that to me is incredibly fascinating. And it is apparently also fascinating to the people at Third Editions. So we're here today to highlight their books, specifically their latest book, which is The Legend of Final Fantasy VI. We'll get that up on screen in a moment so you can get a look at the books. They're beautiful. The production values are just, I can't overstate just how much care they put into making these books really catch your eye on a shelf. So what we have with Final Fantasy VI here is one of the greatest games of all time. Now, if you're a hardcore Nintendo fan and you refuse to go beyond the constraints of the Nintendo pool, Final Fantasy VI is what many of you might think of as Final Fantasy III. Super Nintendo, technically the 6th installment of the game, of the series, I should say. And it has incredible just production values. The story is great. The graphics are great. It's Square at their pinnacle. And what Third Editions has done is what they do in all the books that they've written so far, which is they take the games that you love and they break them down piece by piece. So with The Legend of Final Fantasy VI, it's broken down into multiple chapters. And what the chapters do is they go through every little thing you're going to want to know about in the game. They look at the story. They look at the characters. They look at the universe. They look at themes and plot analysis, which is so above and beyond the Call of Duty, and it's really great. Just thinking that these guys took the time to put even more depth into what they're talking about. I mean, that's within itself. I mean, just look at the people who have fan theories about what Majora's Mask is actually about. I mean, you could write a thesis on it at this point. You also have development history, which is what I personally am really drawn to. I love knowing who the people were working on it, when things started. I mean, you'd be surprised knowing how far back certain things were being worked on, the genesis of certain ideas. I mean, at one point within the development section, it's talking about something happening in 1991. It's like, so you go that far back, and Final Fantasy VI is, you know, starting to coalesce. Things are happening to make it into the game that everybody loves. You also have part of the book devoted to the music. So, as you can see, the books, again, they're gorgeous. The production value is really high. They're hardcover. Sometimes they come with a book jacket, sometimes they don't. I have the Metal Gear book with the book jacket, and it has, I've, of course, put a protector over the jacket because I'm a super nerd, and that's what you're supposed to do. You got to protect the jacket. But there's more to it than that. You have just... these are people who know how to use Adobe InDesign. I love the sewn in bookmarks. That's another just touch that really stands out every time I open up one of their books. And the writing itself, of course, is what's most important, and it's top-notch. Very well written, very clear, and they have really done a good job of finding somebody who translates the books from French to English every time. Again, I can't gush enough about how much I love these. I'm particularly fond of the Legend of Final Fantasy VI. So far, it's really been, it was a delight to read, and I'm glad I can highlight it for you now, because I think one of the things that third editions is facing, like all newer publishers do, is exposure. You know, you want people to know about your product. I think a lot of you might not totally know about third editions yet, so I'm hoping that today with our video we're highlighting it for you and you have learned about something new that you need to go pick up. So these guys, their books are in Barnes & Noble right now. You can order them other places as well. We'll try to get some links up at the bottom of this video in the description area, so if you want to start ordering them, you can. We'll put as many as we can to link you to them. But yeah, third editions, it's pretty incredible what they're doing, and we need more publishers like this. But if we don't get them, third editions is doing a great job. Like I said, they're branching out beyond just video games. They have a Studio Ghibli book coming out, and they have one focused on Marvel, so definitely keep them on your radar. Definitely check out these books. They're amazing, and we're going to continue, you know, as the books come out, we're reading them, and we're going to keep letting you know about them. So Legend of Final Fantasy VI is out there, but there's also, as you can see in the stack as we showed you, there's Final Fantasy VII, there's Zelda, there's Dark Souls, there's Metal Gear Solid, and they're all breaking down different elements of the series and games that they're based off of. So yeah, give third editions a look. They're on social media, and again, we've written pieces to them, which we'll also link to down below, and we can't recommend them enough. Check out third editions. Check out these books, people. Till next time.